What up? Huh? Yo, what up, LEG? Hey, JJ, what up? What up? How you doing? Your work for dropping in to say hi. Well, I appreciate you lurking and conversating. How you been, LEG? I wanted to drop on for a little bit. I committed to doing a TikTok twice a week and YouTube twice a week. So although I didn't get to do it at the time that was planned, I still wanted to come in for the repetition's sake. I've been good, taking it day by day. Wonderful. It's the best way to live, moment by moment. What up, Ashita? How you doing? How's the musical thing going, LEG? So it's kind of fizzled out, but working on something else that has come up. Oh, that's awesome. Fun it always works. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's been some interesting arrangement of appearances for me, which is a wonderful thing. But I'll tell you that there's been some stuff coming up in mine that suggests that it's not. But I know that everything always is just harmonizing my set of being. My set of being is always ideal now, so I know that the arrangement of appearances are going to reflect that. It's just interesting because it looks very different than what I've ever experienced before, but it's a good thing. Where's Nicholas at? I haven't seen Nicholas lately. Good old Saint Nick. I always forget to make a post on places I'm going to go live. I know a lot of people would love to join, but I don't ever give them a heads up, so they probably doing life. That's good. Not sure you just message. Not sure just messaged him. Oh, okay. Saint Nicholas. You guys were like the OGs. Remember when I just started doing lives like, I don't know, probably 6 months ago or so, 8 months ago. Now I'm in lives on different programs all the time. It's crazy. Yo, Joseph, you just jump in from flow, huh? I would say most of the time, yes. I observe that that's my state. Although, as I was saying earlier with LAG, there's been some changes to appearances that have been happening the last day or two, which, interesting enough, I find I haven't. Um, I've been in flow, but there's been like a lot of flow interrupters, as I call them, which is where the little eyes coming in mind and suggesting that things aren't ideal the way that it wants it to be, or that I'm not fulfillment. And so it's been a wonderful opportunity to purify the mind. Been a lot of stuff though. What up, BL? What's up, Brad? Hey, it is the way. Yeah, it is 1000%. Yeah. Yeah, the funny thing is I talk about flow all the time and, um, the importance of purifying the mind and such, and when I first started, it wasn't very enjoyable for me because it seems as though I was always having to purify my mind. It was just like a continuous thing where fears of my wife leaving me, fears of this going wrong, fears of finances, fears of appearing a certain way, fears of talking, fears of this, fears of that. And it just was like an all day thing where I experienced that. And now I don't have fears when I talk with anybody. I can talk in front of however large of a crowd. I don't feel nothing comes up in mind. I experience flow. With finances, I experience flow. With my wife, I experience flow. And so now, though, that it doesn't come up that often, it's actually um, I don't mind it even in the slightest. In fact, I'm very grateful. Um, I'm very grateful for appearances. Well, there's things so like what was happening before is that I found that it was ideal um, when I manifested my wife back in that we didn't live together. Like I didn't include that in my visualization because I found that I really enjoy not having her around continuously. Like as interesting as that sounds, and I think part of why there was like some guilt or shame before around that subject, I think, because there was always teachers around me or my parents and stuff that said that, hey, marriage is supposed to look like this. And I didn't want my marriage to be like that. I wanted to, hang out with my wife a lot of the time, but I also enjoy my solitude. I enjoy being by myself a lot of the time. So she was living with her with my father-in-law, but then now she's moving back in and there's been a bunch of stuff that's been coming up about it of is this what the little I prefers and do I want that to happen, etc. It's very interesting for it to come up, but I realized that it's all good things, because I was just thinking about a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, I finally at a point where I do desire for her to move in so we're together more often. Also, another thing that was like kind of a stumbling block for me is am I going to have time to do content creation if I'm watching my son more often? Am I going to have time for coaching? How is that going to work, and etc. And there's just a bunch of different stuff that went on, and um, so all it's been is just releasing this resistance and releasing untrue beliefs about it, and because I think a lot of what's underneath all of it, because I may not have a preference for something, but if I'm having resistance to something or I'm having reactivity to something, then that's a clear indication to me that there's a belief there. Because I have preferences, right? I have preferences. I like this or I like that or whatever, or I prefer that. But I'll find that unless there's an untrue belief, I won't ever have resistance to something. It just doesn't happen. I could have people talk to me about astrology. I don't personally believe that astrology. I know that I'm the cause, and so I don't believe in astrology. As a thing. Although I do know that for many it works because they believe in astrology. So I don't like I'm not upset at anybody that practices it or I'm not opposing it. Y- I just don't for me practice it if that makes sense. So that's how I can tell something is a preference versus an untrue belief. Because it's an untrue belief, there's gonna be reactivity, emotional turmoil, overthinking about it. If it's something that I don't prefer, it's simply gonna be I'm okay with it being that way. It's just not something that I choose for myself. So yeah, so it's just a lot of when it comes up, observing the thoughts, not identifying with them, identifying as being the awareness. And if emotions in the body arise, I simply just observe the emotions in the body, and they transmute very quickly into more flow. Hey Joseph, did you ever get discouraged when manifesting SP, thinking that maybe you were wasting time or doubting? Yeah, yeah, Laya. I think everybody has that, right? Especially the first time that you manifest your SP. I mean, that's a very common thing is to doubt, is to, have can I do this? Do they have free will? Things too messed up, et cetera, et cetera. It's a very common thing. Yeah. I just kept persisting, purifying the mind. Thank you everybody for liking the stream, by the way. I appreciate y'all. My week was similar, exciting sea of interrupters. Yeah, yeah, it's dope. Hi, Joseph. What's up, Joy? How do you deal with people that come in your life that create challenges? Jamarian, so I trust that if you heard what I was saying about the whole situation that's going on the outside for me currently, that's what it is there's something like if someone's creating a challenge in you, right? It's always why I say it's a non-true belief. So let's use this example. So I had a flow interrupter when I'm interacting with my family. I put myself around my family a lot because I love my family, but also a lot of wounds or a lot of assumptions were created around the family member environment, right? This is where I made assumptions about myself. This is where I made assumptions about love, etc. And so one of them is that my grandparents and aunt talk quite a bit, and oftentimes I wouldn't observe that they wanted to hear me talk, which then the personality of Joseph made an assumption that he's not worthy or he's not cared about. So then anytime that I observed anybody that was talking a lot, I would find that I would hate these people or they would annoy me. There would be reactivity and couldn't figure out why. Well, it was because there was non-true belief that I'm not loved or I'm not valuable um, because of them talking. So you see, it's untrue because I am love. My being is love. Who I am is love. And it's the same thing for you. And so that's why I suggest that it's non-true belief and that you purify the mind. You release the condition, you release the untrue belief. The moment that you're aware that it's untrue, you release it and it doesn't come up in mind. Now I can observe them talk and I don't make it about quote unquote me. It's not I'm not worthy because they're talking. So you see what I'm saying? So when people come up, it's always bringing something up within you, some untrue belief that this person is suggesting that you aren't the way you desire to be because they're doing X, Y, and Z. That's where the reactivity comes from, not the person. So that's where you go to recognizing who you truly are. You are love. You are fulfillment. You are bliss. So then, obviously, what's being suggested to you is untrue. So you just release it. Do you believe in free will? I know everyone is off, but it's also law of assumption. If we assume that they do, they do. Yes. Yeah. 1000% lies. Yeah, you're going to get mixed answers because, well, I'll keep my opinion out of it, but I, experientially, people show up in your reality the way that they do. Yeah, that you assume that they do. If you think that somebody like listen to Neville's Pearl of Great Price lecture. Give up belief in any secondary cause. That would include people having the ability to oppose you. That's a secondary cause. Thinking that somebody's doing something to you, that's a secondary cause. Thinking that somebody is doing something, secondary cause, which they will appear that way because of the primary cause, you imagining and giving permission for them to show up in opposition. Then they will, because you, the power, gave them power. Hi, Joseph. How you keeping? Dude, doing wonderful, Luke. Doing fucking fantastic. Thank you for asking, my friend. How are you? Yeah, my week of doom ended up transforming into something perfect internally and externally. Just needed to allow it to reveal itself as, yep. Hey, Joseph, I noticed when you mentioned affirming from I am, it's like I feel I'm already in the state of anything before even affirming. That's mystical. Welcome to the truth. Welcome to the realization that I've been saying. That literally sums up why I suggest that you don't need to affirm. You just become conscious that you found the master key. Now it's no longer a concept to you. You experientially understand what I'm saying to you. That is the point. Why would you affirm? You are it. That's my point. And also observe mystical once you're there. Observe how the thoughts that naturally happen to you. And that reminds me, that's what I wanted to talk about that I didn't make a where's my little well, I don't know. I always have good things that pop in my mind, so it's fine. But that's the thing that I suggested, or that I was gonna make a video on today is do not pay attention to your thoughts and what thoughts are automatically flowing to you. What are you automatically imagining? If it's not ideal, the issue is not to, or the solution is to not go and consciously start forcing yourself to think a certain way or force yourself to imagine. The solution is to remove yourself from that state, place yourself into the neutral I amness. I'm glad I'm saying this because I'm just going to watch this and make my video. And then observe as once you become, as mystical just so beautifully put, once you become the I am state, the way that you love to be or that you would love to talk to yourself will automatically happen to you. This is what Neville meant by natural. Yeah. Congratulations, mystical. It's beautiful to observe that. I love that. That's a beautiful symbol of bliss for me. Beautiful representation of my state or symbol. Did you ever practice thought transmission with SB, and did you ever see it reflected? Yeah, I did, Lies. Yep. Yeah, I said that for like a week or two that my wife was manifesting me. She ended up appearing that way. I said for like a week or two that she was having dreams about me every night. And once I manifested back the second time, she told me that there's like a week or 10 days. She said she never has dreams, but for that 7 days or however long, she was having dreams every night of me, um, starting our relationship over new in different ways, like we first just met, which is what I was saying she was having dreams about. Hey, Joseph, I noticed when you mentioned mystical fire. Thanks for sharing before, Joseph. Love hearing about the things that come up and how you handle the mind chatter. Yeah, of course. You're welcome, LG. Elias, these past couple lives, I haven't seen you have a Red Bull. Are you taking a break? Oh, fuck no. No, I've already had two this morning. I'm not even going to cap. And I started vaping again. I've been enjoying vaping. Hello again. What's up, Angel? Joseph, I came in late. Is there a new set of circumstances that you're dealing with in your personal life? Yeah, yeah. It's more or less just about my wife is going to be moving back, and there's been a whole bunch of stuff going on over at her father-in-law's. She's her brother's over there and everything, which was really nice because it helped me watch our son. Just a wonderful situation, and then it uh, recently has appearances have changed. So she's moving back in, and it's sparked up a lot of things. 'Cause I like having my alone time a lot. I like, having time to reflect. I like having time to sit in the silence. I like having time to do things. And, I guess a concern was that, well, how am I going to be able to do these things? Am I going to be able to enjoy my time and stuff? And um, yeah, you are the truth. I get it now. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, isn't it funny, mystical? Once you're present, all questions go away. Everything that I'm saying makes sense. It all just makes sense. You understand experientially that you are it already. And then Neville's statement that I share every stream continuously, you are who it is that you desire to be. And because you're not identifying to the little I, the reasoning leaves you. And so you're just left with being it, right? So why would you affirm? All affirming's doing is you're recognizing that you are it. It's like giving you permission to be your I amness. That's all an affirmation is. Yep, it's true. I get it now. Everything you tell people is so spot on. You make it easier for us all. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that I understand also because I was there where I listened to Joseph Rodriguez for 4 years, where he kept saying the same thing. No need to affirm, no need to do anything. Fundamentally, my only job was to not identify with untrue beliefs. And I kept hearing this, I kept hearing this, I kept hearing this, and I kept trying to make a concept out of it. I kept trying to figure it out. I kept trying to do more affirmations. And it was funny. Sometimes I would end up in flow the way that he was talking about, and I go, "Oh, it makes sense. I get what he's saying." And then I would fall back out of it, and I go back to doing. I have to make it happen. I don't see proof and validation. I'm not affirming enough. And then I would kind of teeter totter out of flow to going back to I need to do something. I need to make it happen. I have to do effort. I have to do affirmations. I have to visualize. I have to stay on top of this. And then finally it just, I just purified my mind, and now I realize, like, I am it. What can I do? And then I observe if thoughts do come to me, they're most of the time very lovely, from the premise of me being the way that I desire to be, from things being the way I desire for them to be, even if the external quote unquote uh, prior appeared to be in opposition, and my emotional state is in alignment. My concept automatically changes. It's like you don't do anything. The Father doeth the work. And Joseph Rodriguez used to say this other thing that I absolutely love. And he said that, once you're in flow, you have this realization is that this whole experience is God experience in itself. And that's what I found to be true. Because when I come on these lives, the things that I say, people say are prophetic. They fucking help people out. They change their lives. They manifest their SP, all these different things. I don't have any thoughts in my mind of what I'm saying to you. They're flowing through me. So who's saying it? It appears as though Joseph's saying it, but is Joseph actually the one coming up with the information? But here's the thing, who I am is observing Joseph the avatar flowing. So that's all I'm doing is I'm observing the Father experience itself. It all makes sense now what Joseph was saying forever. I take actions, but it doesn't seem like I'm taking actions because there's not really any conscious thoughts or forcing myself to. My body appears to flow automatically, and everything it works in harmony with me without me having a thought. Like I noticed this for the first time in sales. I was not very good at sales at first. And the reason why I wasn't good at sales is because it was, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to say the right thing. I know the right thing. Okay. So they're going to say this, and and then I'm just in my head the whole time. I go up to door after door, and people are telling me they're going to pull a gun on me if I'm still here, get a real job. I'm a bum, don't want to do the business, etc. Okay. So at first, this created more mind chatter, more studying. How do I go and read the best sales book? How do I figure out social dynamics and sales and all these other things? How do I learn how to manipulate and control the situation? And it just, periodically I get a sale because it happens once, but I was not good at it, and it was very miserable. And then there would be days where I would just fall in the flow. I would just fall into flow where there wasn't, I need to do sales. I need to say the right thing. I need to control the situation. I need to manipulate. I need to force. I need to be this way or be that way or say this thing. Or yesterday it worked for me when I did this. So I'm going to do this again today. And I just flowed. And the funny thing was, is I observed myself talking to this human being. There was no fear, no control, no wanting a particular outcome. And what I would observe is again and again, I would keep getting sales. And the funny thing is, what I observed the personality or the avatar saying were things that I'm like, this doesn't make any sense why people want to do the sale. The things I'm saying don't sound quote unquote magical from the ego's perspective. I don't get why it's working. And that's the whole funny thing. The Father's ways are beyond my level of understanding, right? People think we make it happen, but we don't. How the manifestations happen, I had no idea how they'd happen with my wife. And when I observed how they happen, it didn't even make any sense the way that they happen. It didn't make sense this series of events where she reaches out to me. Like it made zero sense. And so I find time and time and time again when I'm in flow, I am the most intelligent. I get the most hunches and inspirations. Things work harmonious with me. I know what to do. I get spontaneous blessings. Life is 1,000 times easier. It's just the way. Like it's just the way. So my suggestion is if you're listening to flow and it's kind of making sense, kind of not, just keep persisting. I listened for 4 years before I finally understood I am already what I desire to be. I can do nothing. Now it's just an effortless thing. And here's the thing, I will sometimes like every once in a while, it's pretty rare, but every once in a while I may have a desire for something. Like I don't know, um members in my school community, coaching clients, things like this. And I will simply just in the moment that I desire it, I'll simply say, thank you that I have an abundance of coaching clients. Something like this. Very simple acknowledgement because I know that I am everything within. So I'm just recognizing that. And then I'll wake up in the morning, coaching clients will flow. There'll be a whole bunch of new people that sign up for school community. It's mutually beneficial for them. It's just so easy today. It's like the more conscious you are, if you do choose to do a technique, the quicker you see the manifestation. Like, manifestations are extremely quick for me nowadays. Hey, fellow AZer. What's up, Jonathan? So I've been better with 3D habits, but my SP is going cold in communication. Previous 3Ps make it difficult not to assume when she goes quiet. It's the only old story coming up. What to do? Yeah, Jonathan. So the answer is going to be in flow, right? Be conscious. Because here's the funny thing is like the brain goes, well, I can't be conscious because I got to do something. I have to figure something out. But the funny thing is, the ironic thing is the more that you think that you have a problem, more that you experience a problem because that's what you're putting in your consciousness. It's what you're conscious of, a problem. So that's the funny thing about it. When I go, no, 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 everything's good, everything's good, everything's good, everything's good. What am I actually conscious of? That I have a problem. Hence why I'm trying so hard for there not to be a problem. So what do? I remove myself from the quote unquote problem in mind and I go into flow. I become as I am. Guess what happens when I'm in flow? I don't have problems. What produces the problem? The little I. The little I suggesting based upon appearances. So if I become in flow, I'm no longer the little I am consciousness. I am God consciousness, Jesus, whatever you want to call it, flow, void, presence, now, whatever you want to call it. I no longer have the little thinker in mind suggesting to me. I transcended appearances. I transcend emotions. I transcend thoughts. You transcend these things when you're in flow. And so what flows to you then? Lovely thoughts, thoughts from the wish fulfilled, wholeness, satisfaction, bliss, thoughts that serve you, that represent who you are. Remember, you're God. Consciousness is God. It is everything. So if something's suggesting that it's not the way that you want it to be, well, guess who is it then? Can't be who you are. It must be an untrue belief. If you can go back in time, thank you everybody for loving the stream. I appreciate you all. If you can go back in time when manifesting your life, would you do anything different or would you give yourself advice on what to do and what not to? No. Nope. Everything that I did brought me to being how I am now. I love my quality of life now. I went through so much suffering for years. And now I very rarely suffer. But I'm very grateful for it though, because I suffered for so long. So if I would have been here quicker, I don't know that I would have been quite as appreciative of it, although I probably would have been. But um, no, I needed to learn exactly what I needed to learn in order for me to be exactly where I'm at. So I'm in agreements with Bashar where he talks about that everything is for you. I think there's a beautiful opportunity in everything that you go through. If you're having people that are triggering you around you, that's a beautiful opportunity for you to release the little I that's suggesting problems, or for you to the little I that's suggesting that you're not the way that you want to be. Or for those people that see their SPs on a regular basis and they appear to be triggered, I think that's a beautiful opportunity for them to not to not judge based upon appearances, but to judge righteous judgment. Does it mean that it's probably more challenging as far as 3D? Sure. Sure. But like, how do you get great at something? Well, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. You reflect on the results that you got. You reverse engineer what you did to get the results that you got. And then once you realize, oh shit, it's me, well, guess what? You stop doing that. Like when it's experientially realized that your imagination creates your reality, are you ever gonna fuck with thoughts of fear? You ever gonna fuck with secondary thoughts of they're doing this to me, they're doing this to me? Absolutely not. You're not going to. Why would you? If you truly knew that you were the sole cause in your reality, you would never think anything negative because you realize that it's the only way that it can be created in your reality. Doesn't mean that negative thoughts aren't going to come to you, or thoughts aren't going to come from the little eye, because they come. I still have thoughts from the little eye, untrue thoughts, limited belief thoughts, all these different things. But the difference is, no, though, now I know immediately that they're not I thoughts, and how I know is very simple. It's very, very black and white for me. If it's from the premise of fulfillment, if it's from the premise of love, it's from the premise of bliss, if it's from the premise of satisfaction, anything of these type of thoughts, which is what I experience while being as I am, which is flow or presence now, whatever you want to call it. I know these are real I thoughts I'm thinking for myself. If there's thoughts of um, judgment of others, old story, I can't do it. I'm not changing. Things are against me. I have lack. I don't have enough of this. This isn't the way I want it to. These are always untrue beliefs. How do I know? Because again, I just established what true thoughts look like when I'm thinking for myself. I know what these thoughts look like. I know my emotional state when I'm thinking for myself, when I'm being as I desire to be. So then it's very clear then if I'm having those thoughts, they can't be true. Well, how do I know they can't be true? Because again, if I am the creator of my reality, which I know that I am, and I know that all you know that, hence why you're here, well, then they're not true. I can't entertain them. I could, I just choose not to because I don't want to experience that. I had enough time where I would entertain things that caused me suffering. I used to tell people about how bad my life was all the time. I remember telling my grandma the story. This is probably about 2.5, 3 years ago. I was pretty aware at that time. But I find that there's a progression to it. Maybe when you first start, you go in flow sometimes, and then a lot of the time you go back to unconsciousness and secondary causes, thinking of what they're doing, going off on stories, and then you come back to being conscious again, and you stay conscious more time. You notice lovely things start appearing in your life again, and then you may notice a sprint of unconsciousness. Then you become more conscious, etc. But around that time, I was at the time where I was teeter-totting between being conscious and in flow a lot of the time, experiencing more blessings in my life because my state of being was changing more often. And then I would go back to my old state of consciousness and experience some fuckery. And one of the things that I would suggest is to my grandma, I'm only 30 something years old and I've gone through stuff that's worse than most 90-year-olds. I've had this tragedy and this tragedy. When I was 20, some girl killed herself in my car, et cetera, et cetera. Just this whole story. Well, guess what kept happening? Problem, 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 problem. I was right. Okay, so guess what? Another learning lesson. What happened here? Why does this keep happening in my reality? Well, what am I conversating about? What am I imagining continuously? Life's reflecting that. Okay, well, what if I change that and start saying I'm blessed? That life is amazing to me. I have the best life ever. Blessings are always around me. Things like this. What if I change it? Or what if I even just stop saying that? What if I even just stop imagining that catastrophes happen to me? What's going to happen? Life's going to start being good to me automatically. And that's my whole point. Really, this isn't about affirming or anything like that. As mystical so beautifully put, once you're being as you are, once you're in flow, you don't need to do anything. You automatically think ideal. You automatically view the world ideal. You automatically affirm ideal. You automatically talk to yourself ideal. So, really, all that is necessary then is that I don't allow myself to identify with untrue beliefs. Thank you for liking the stream. I've been embodying the version of myself who has my SP for days now. Felt good. Then suddenly it went quiet inside my mind. No thoughts or feelings popped in. It's like I went blank. Is this normal? It's a wonderful thing, Angel. Because I trust you'll find, as I did, that what causes you suffering is not your SP or your circumstances. What causes you suffering is the things that you're saying within yourself about your circumstance. So if you stop imagining unideal things, not only will your inner world feel a lot better, but your outer world will appear a lot better because obviously your inner state of being is what creates your outer appearances. Life is symbols of who you're being, right? So if you're in a better internal state of being, well, guess what happens to your outer state of being? Reflects it. It appears I was summoned. Yo, Nicholas, my Charizard, I need you to take out the Squirtle, bro. Come out of your Pokeball. Hey, brother, good to see you. Good to see you as well, Billions. I've came to the conclusion that it's time to move on from my SP after 7 years. I'm throwing in the towel. I gave the best I could give. I haven't seen any movement. Gotcha, brother. Yeah, I mean, there's the thing about this. There is no right or wrong choice, right? So if that's where you're feeling like that's what you're feeling like is the best thing for you to do, then I love it. I support it. And if it isn't, I love it and support it. I've been doing good, been flowing, but saw the SP at work last night and got hella nervous. I feel like it's probably has some lingering fear about not being chosen. Feeling nervous drives me nuts. Yeah. Well, George, there's a couple of things here. Is one, um, allow the energy, emotion to be there, right? Because like you'll find what causes nervousness to be the worst is when you're like trying to hide it or it's not okay for you to be there. You'll find this like as a thing. I found this experientially. The more that I resist something or go, no, it has to be like this, or no, it needs to be like this, the more that the opposite appears. And the reason why is again, very similar to I tell people of why like affirming over and over again most times doesn't work for people. It does sometimes. You'll observe people that it succeeds for, but it's because they're being conscious of the opposite being true. So like when you're being nervous, you're like holding into in your mind that it's not okay. And so then what's going to reflect? Well, your emotions are going to reflect this, your body's going to reflect this. People that you observe may appear to say it's not okay for you to be that way or may make fun of you for being that way, but everybody's just affirming I can't be like this. So first thing. Second thing is, well, why can't that be excitement? Why can't that be bliss? Why can't that be gratitude that you get the opportunity to experience yourself doing something that you love to do? Why not relate to the energy and emotion differently? Why does it have to be that emotion? And the answer you'll find is it doesn't have to be. It's an unconscious, automatic identification to the energy and motion, but the energy and motion doesn't have a meaning. Your mind gives everything meaning, from your outside circumstances to the emotions that you experience to everything. So I would suggest giving a different meaning, one that serves you. Manifesting is like the force from Star Wars. The force is everything around us. It binds us, it connects us. Nothing outside the force exists. Everything within is so outside. Trust only in the force. Yep. I think hearing people say they tried for X years gets others discouraged, but again, we aren't in their head, so maybe they aren't trying as hard as they think they are. Mental status is important. No, Elias, I think everybody is generally trying, right? Like everybody I know is trying the absolute best that they can, like undoubtedly. And I think where a lot of the challenges come up, and this is why I'm so consistent on what I'm sharing, is because I observe as more and more people find this truth again and again and again. Um, is that you are who it is that you desire to be, like in consciousness. But then there's so much different information from people that share, well, do this and then do this and then do this. And this adds another layer of complexity to the individual's manifestation. And so they'll go and affirm for a day or so, and then they'll not see proof and validation, and then they'll go and visualize for a day or so, and then they'll do this and they'll do that, and then they'll, am I doing it right? Is this happening? Is this happening? I mean, one of the things that I see the most is that. Or the other thing is too is they're continuously checking their SP's Facebook, what their SP's doing, which is another thing. I made a TikTok on this because it's just so important. You'll observe is that if you look outside for how things are going, right? Like if um, before I started manifesting abundance in my life, I looked at my bank account and went, "Hey, how am I doing?" Based upon what my bank account said, well, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to go, "Well, there's not money in my bank account. This must mean that my manifestations aren't working. This must mean that this doesn't work, or I'm fucking some." See what I'm saying? Now I start imagining that things aren't the way I want them to be. So this is why I tell people to stop thinking of what their SP is saying, stop thinking of what their SP is doing, stop thinking of what happened with their SP, stop thinking, checking their Facebook, stop checking their Instagram, because all that's going to do is start having you think that they're the power and what they're thinking, which most times I trust you found that it's not in harmony with what it is that you desire. Okay, so what if I do that? What if I stop looking outside and I go within and I determine or I acknowledge the way that it is now? And I start going, my SP is so in love with me. Oh, that feels nice. I can accept that. That's very easy. Why can I accept that? Because my inner world is completely my business, my responsibility. I'm in control of it. My inner world is what determines my outer world. Okay. My SP is so in love with me. Oh, easy. That feels nice. I feel secure. I feel satisfied. I feel as though it is that way. Great. That is the point behind manifestation. So why check 3D? Why check what SP is saying or not saying? And notice also, there's another important part. Notice also once you accept that affirmation or you recognize that you are it or you have it internally, notice how you're not looking for proof of validation anymore. Notice how you don't feel as though you're lacking or wanting anymore. Notice how you're not really caring about SP anymore. Well, sure you care, but like there's not that that those crappy emotions of like desperation for this outside thing to give me what I'm able to give myself. So I'm free. So it's a win-win. I go within, I determine how things are. I'm in that loving relationship. Thank you. My SP is the way I desire for them to be. Thank you. We have the perfect relationship. And then once I come out of it, I can go and actually live life without obsessing, thinking about them continuously, wanting to text them, wondering where they're at, checking their Facebook, stressing myself out, imagining to the contrary. What up, Lucas? Moritz. How you doing? My brother from another month. Why did visualizer break up with reality? Because they were seeing someone new. Um, damn, you guys been going crazy with the chats. I'm trying to catch up. Jamarian, if we are created from the divine, then why does a little I appear to be so fucked up? No, the thing is, Jamarian, is that your awareness of being is the creator. The little I is it's a pair with the body, with the 3D avatar, right? How could consciousness experience itself unless it was a manifestation? That's why you have separation. That's why you have appearances that look different. People are different sizes and different things. It's so that it can experience itself because there's just consciousness, right? So what is Eckhart Tolle said this so beautifully is that when you become extremely conscious of a plant, what you realize is that that plant is conscious of you as well. It's a very cool experience. I've experienced it a few times. It's not obviously something that your mind can comprehend, but you, again, much like flow, your mind can't comprehend flow. Only you can comprehend flow. You know it experientially. So that's the thing is like consciousness is experienced in itself in different forms. That's really fundamentally what this comes down to. And your ego is part of the manifestation of things. The body, they're like a pair, right? And it's not fucked up. It's a beautiful part of this. It's very equivalent. Like if you look at it now, I will say it does appear fucked up at first because it causes a lot of suffering. But Eckhart Tolle and many other spiritual teachers have talked about the importance of suffering. Suffering is such a beautiful thing because if I didn't suffer, I would have never went internal and I would have never been sharing this information I came to and helping all these people and now experiencing a life that most of the time is filled with bliss and lovely experiences. I wouldn't have been able to experience this if I didn't suffer. So it brought me within because I was caused so much pain. I couldn't go outside for any more validation. I couldn't go outside to make me feel better. So what was I left with? I went within. Well, guess what? When I go within, I find the kingdom of heaven. Right? And I start paying attention to what I'm doing within myself because I notice, oh, I have better thoughts. I feel better emotions. My inner world feels better. My outer experiences feel better. And then also, my outer experiences appear better. Oh, nice. So it's like, uh, For one, that's why the ego is beautiful. Number two, and I trust once you see this, you're going to see the importance of this. Look at how gorgeous space is. Like you look up in the sky, absolutely perfect. It's infinite. It's everything, and it allows everything to be. And yet, do anybody look at the sky most of the time? No, your mind goes to the object, the stars. It goes to the clouds. It goes to these things. But look at the space. That's even more beautiful. It allows all those things to exist. So you see, consciousness is both unmanifested, which is what you are when you're awareness, and it's the manifested, which is the ego or the mind. If you didn't have the mind, you wouldn't be aware of the awareness, right? How would you find it? If the space wasn't there, you would never look up at space because there's no stars. So you need them. They go hand in hand, and they end up becoming. You end up becoming. It's not a problematic thing later on. Once you know who you are and you're able to abide as you are, which is consciousness, then um, the ego isn't problematic because you recognize you aren't the body. Saw this thing from Andrew Tate. His character is, I'm going to leave my opinion out of it. But one of the things I really loved is he said that, my emotions don't matter. And he said the reason why is because I remain aware at all times. Hmm. Hmm. So he said, my emotional state does not dictate who I am. Interesting statement. Profound statement. So you see, my emotional state of being does not affect who I am. My thoughts do not affect who I am. My circumstances don't affect who I am. Your I amness transcends these. It's beyond it. It is not swayed by appearances. It's not swayed by untrue beliefs. It's not swayed by thoughts that are in the mind. It transcends them. It's beyond them. Right? This is why Neville always talks about it, and every spiritual teacher since the beginning of the time talked about the importance of going into the silence. Why? Because you remember who you are. You recognize who you are again. You were identified to the little I and the stories that were going on in your mind and etc. And it was creating all this chaos and etc. Then you become the who you are, the stillness, the I think some other spiritual teacher called it neutrality. I forgot what his word was for it. And then from there he said, then acknowledge you are the way you desire to be. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about going into the space where quantum and then you connect with it or whatever energetically. Same exact. You'll notice everybody has the exact same formula. You're imagining to the contrary. You're getting caught up in the little I. The solution across every board of every religion or practice is to become aware, become nothing. Every single one of them. Very interesting. And then from there, you acknowledge that you're the way you want to be. You acknowledge that it is the way that you want it to be. You acknowledge that they are the way you want it to be. Christianity called this prayer, right? There's so many different. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. Yeah, you were right, Justina. I have to be careful. You can ban me now. Don't worry, Lucas. I'll make sure you're banned, bro. What up, Kyra? I really love your videos. It's another level of understanding for me. Thank you for what you do. You're welcome, Kyra. Thank you for the kind words. The sweet is never as sweet without the sour. Yeah. What up, Fig Tree? I want to manifest a beautiful house, and when now I live in a dump, I've been appreciative. I'm safe though. Lovely. That is wonderful. So lovely. Acknowledge that it is that way now. Just acknowledge that it is that way. And a cool thing will happen. You'll start imagining yourself in your new house. You'll start seeing as though you're in your new house. Like it's a really cool thing. Joseph, my kid's dad is a really shitty dad. how can't how can I change or see that I experience as peace, love, bliss so we have more harmonious experiences? Well, Kira, let me ask you this question. So when you're imagining this person as being a particular way, where's the imagining happening? Maybe appearing as though it's outside, although there's nothing outside of your consciousness. I'm willing to die for that assumption. But it's happening within your mind. So then where is the change needing to happen? You. The thoughts that you're entertaining about the appearance of this individual have to change. So what you say to yourself when you're talking to yourself, when you're imagining, and as I say, the easiest you can do it the more challenging way, which is forcing yourself to believe or think a certain way, or you can simply just not entertain the thoughts whenever they come up about how shitty of a dad that he is. Notice as you don't entertain those thoughts, they'll dissolve, and then he'll appear to reappear in harmony with you. Went to the wilderness for 40 days and nights and came back purified. That's a cap. We know you ain't leaving your cat alone. I manifested a random person from America. I thought it would be cool to be in contact with that person. And then we were. Now she's coming to Germany in a few days and we're going to meet up. That's dope, dude. Look at you pimping all across the world. Lucas, you got to go listen to that song by Ludacris. Been thinking of doing pineal gland meditation, worried about stuff coming up. I feel like I'm finally feeling better about this process and don't want to mess it up. Yeah, fig. I mean, the thing is, as I was talking about earlier, you just keep being as you are. Maybe emotions come up, maybe they don't come up, maybe thoughts come up, maybe they don't come up. What difference does it make, right? Hey, Joseph, thank you for these lives. They're awesome. You're welcome, Major. Thanks for being here, brother. How to deal with loneliness in the 3D. Lovely. The loneliness is not happening in the 3D. It's happening with inside you, right? You're oftentimes putting whether or not you're in a loving relationship or whether or not you're loved or in the state you want to be in based upon what outside people. This is quote unquote what they call codependency, which I think is an overused term. But that's fundamentally what it comes down to is I'm looking to them for them to give me what I give myself. And so let's go within. Give yourself what it is that you want. What up, Brandon? How's it going, brother? Jonathan, recommendations to get into flow when I need more photo clients for regular financial needs, but 20K for new business since I've lived for years in one financial state. How to feel it in flow for new. Yeah. So Jonathan, in that instance, maybe what I do is just say, hey, thank you that my business worked out. Or thank you that I had all the money. Thank you that I got all the money. Whatever the so if you have a problem, like really here's the thing is that a lot of the times people ask this question and I trust that this will answer that question. If you have a problem, then the desire would be the solution to that problem. That's what you're acknowledging. Neville says it beautifully. If you're in jail, the solution would be you're free. So you just go in and you just acknowledge that you're free, or imagine that you're free, or feel that you're free. So whatever it is, you would just keep acknowledging that you are the way you desire to be. And here's the thing, I find it beautiful. Like I saw this post by somebody said, "Hey, did you ever notice that the more that you have outside proof to the contrary, that your senses of suggestions and opposition actually helps you manifest quicker?" And it's funny because I do recognize that's been truthful for me. And the reason why is I noticed that my senses will suggest based upon appearances. It reminds me to acknowledge that I have it now. So it's in my consciousness, I'm acknowledging that I have it more often, which then makes the appearances appear to change quicker. So every time that you have the thing, and I wouldn't force yourself, I wouldn't go out of your way to think about this thing or what you desire, or whatever it is. But when it comes up, whatever the desire is, whatever the solution would be, or whatever would set you free or your savior would be from the current problem you're having, just acknowledge that you have that. That's it. Don't need to think about how, don't need to consider the situation. The mind trying to do mind things. It wants to figure it out. How do I fix this? How do I got to worry about this? You don't. You just go to the solution and acknowledge it within you. Talking about Bible and you equating the cats. Joseph Catch. Yeah, I'm loving this for myself and Lizzie. Talking about Bible. Okay, okay. Loving how it's pouring out of you today, Joseph. Thank you, JT. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. Do you ever get goosebumps during meditation when you think certain things? I get this feedback every day. It's crazy. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I've had a couple of times where I've reached. Dr. Joe Dispenza gives it the term or the word post of gamma state. And I was observing as many people suggested that when they were in the state, a lot of their diseases left them, or how a lot of things were corrected for them while in the state. But I've been in it probably about 10 times over the hundreds of times that I meditated. And it's the most phenomenal experience I've ever had in my whole entire life. It's almost as if I notice every time what happens is that I'm just being the awareness. I'm in a space, right? Like I'm just strictly awareness. I've lost the body. I don't know where I'm at. It almost seems like I'm floating and I'm just being present, just observing. And then what happens, it feels as though I'm being pulled up, like almost like by an elevator or something. And then I observe as my body starts to permeate this in just the most intense and I've done some heavy drugs. Let me tell you first off, the most intense feelings and ecstasy I've ever felt in my whole entire life, I observe as the body, the 3D avatar starts crying and tearing up, and it lasts for a very, very, very long time while in that state. And I haven't ever had like things healed, right? It's not like I don't know, I got like jacked or something as soon as I got out of one of those things. Like I haven't had a miraculous, but the experience itself was like the most ecstasy I've ever been in by far. But like I said, I've only been able to reach like 10 times because I notice what happens is that a lot of times while I'm in meditation, I'll be extremely in flow, which is easy for me now. But what I notice is that a thought or two will pop in. Or another thing that'll happen is that my focus will go to my body because it's anticipating going into that state. And so it's like forcing or controlling. And so it seems as though the more that I try to go into the state, the further away I go. Funny, right? Same thing with manifestation, where you try to be at the more you're the opposite. But the more that I'm trying to get there to the gamma state, the more that I'm trying to get in that deep flow where that happens, the further away I go. Instead, when I just sit there in flow as the awareness, it just happens. Much like manifestation, I've observed. The more that I'm okay and I deal with things being the way they are now, the more that what I love flows to me. I usually understand, but are you saying if I feel lonely, I'm codependent? Who do I have to depend on? It's just been me. Well, codependency is implying that something outside of you is there to make you feel the way that you desire to be, right? So, like, it's once SP tells me that I'm lovable, then I'm lovable, right? Which, first off, SP doesn't even exist outside of your consciousness. But secondly, it's looking to them to give yourself what you desire. And no, I wouldn't say you're codependency because that would be meaning that I'm identifying with the personality that's appearing, which I know that you're not the personality. You're the awareness that's observing me suggesting this to you from my personality, your personality. Joseph, is it true that if we write down the things we want and how we want them, it has more power? If that's your assumption, then yes. I simply just acknowledge. Actually, I don't even acknowledge anymore. I just go back to being as I am, and I recognize that it is fulfillment. Some people just simply will recognize by affirmations or visualize something. There's not. It's whatever one you feel helps you recognize that you are the way you desire to be. Joseph, what is the best way to manifest a broken or flawed object shown up in your reality as fixed, now new or unflawed? Picture it real quick being in your hands. You observing it in your hands and you feeling it. Do you think the timing of the unfolding is different to all? The part of the how that we should not be concerned about? Yeah, it's definitely going to be different. 1000%. Thanks, man. Assuming simple gratitude. Amen, brother. Amen. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I love y'all. I love you long time. I'll catch you guys on what's today? I'll catch you guys on Friday. Friday. Take care. Have a good week. Many blessings. Much love, guys. Not gonna lie, I forgot how to get out of here. Oh, fucking, I'm just next out of it.